Hello friends, welcome to another session of Homegroups. I hope that you enjoyed your spring break or are enjoying it right now. And if there's anyone new in the house, welcome to the Bethany Youth family. We are going to continue our Unshakable series. And to start off today, I want to read from Job chapter 8, verse 8 through 9. Ask the former generations and find out what their fathers learned. For we were born only yesterday and know nothing. We want to talk today about learning from the previous generations. And I think as young people, in order for us to grow, it's important for us to observe and to learn what we can from previous generations. Personally, for me, a lot of things that I learned from my parents and from people that I look up to is patience, perseverance. And I think those things are very important right now in a world where we want things instantly, where we want instant gratification, where we want things to work fast and things to be done. It's important for us to be patient and persevere through sometimes the trials that we run into. And I want you guys to start off by answering this question. What are some things that you have learned from the previous generations? Please take this time to discuss. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a great discussion and that you shared some advice that you learned from your parents and from people that you look up to and from previous generations. I want to jump back into the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verse 23 to 22. But you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled yourself, though you knew all this. Instead, you have set yourself up against the Lord of heaven. You had the goblets from his temple brought to you, and you and your nobles, your wives and your concubines, drank wine from them. You praised the gods of silver and gold, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand. But you did not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all of your ways. We see King Belshazzar. Now, if you guys remember from the previous session, King Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar is his grandson. And Belshazzar was kind of a king that liked to party. He threw a lot of parties, drank a lot of wine, and kind of sensing this weakness, the two other kingdoms, the Medes and the Persians, they surrounded Babylon, the city. And King Belshazzar kind of just shrugged his shoulders and was like, well, we're not really in much trouble. We can handle this. And so this party boy, the king, he throws another party and he invites 1,000 of his friends. And, they're drinking and he gets this idea. Well, let's take the goblets, the utensils that were used in the temple of Jerusalem that my grandfather besieged, and drink from them. And so they took these goblets and they gave toasts to their pagan gods. And as they're doing this, a hand comes and starts writing on the wall. And the king his face becomes pale. His knees begin to shake. He's afraid, and nobody understands what is written. And of course, they go to, the go-to guy, Daniel. So Daniel comes, and God lets him understand what is written, and also lets him understand and interpret the message. And it's Mene Mene Tekel Parsin. And what that means is, your time is up. You have been weighed and not measured up, and your kingdom will be divided and you will die today. So that is what was written to the king. Now this king, he was around when his grandfather Nebuchadnezzar was going through different things, and he could have learned from his grandfather's mistakes, but instead he chose to make the same exact mistakes. And unfortunately, the way his kingdom ended is pretty sad, but he chose not to learn anything from those who came before him. I want you guys to take this time to share some of the relationships that you can have that can help you learn wisdom or knowledge or understanding. Please take this time to discuss. Hey guys, welcome back. I also want to share some relationships that can be beneficial to us as we grow. Number one is mentors. Mentors are people that can answer deep questions for us, people that can guide us, can keep us accountable, and help us grow, whether that's learning, a certain trade, a new skill, or spiritual growth. They can guide us and lead us. The next one is role models. It's good to have a role model that is typically dead, so you can see somebody that lived their whole life from beginning to the end. And the ultimate role model is Jesus. That's right. We can read about Jesus in the Bible, and we see his life from the beginning to the end, and we strive to be like him. He is the ultimate role model, although we can have a lot of various role models as well in our lives. And the last one is friends. Friends are people that row the boat with us. They are with us through the painful times, through the happy times. They are by our side, and we can call on them at any time. They go through this life with us. I want you guys to discuss this next question of what are some practical ways we can become better learners. Please take this time to discuss. Hey guys, welcome back. I want to share some practical ways that we can become better learners. In James chapter 4, verse 6, we read, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. A few days ago, I was watching a third grade boy play basketball, and he knows how to dribble, but, it's not the NBA. And there was an older gentleman there in his 50s or 60s, and he approaches the boy, and he's like, hey man, let me give you some tips. Let me show you a few ways that you can improve your basketball skills. And to my surprise, this kid was like being very stubborn and saying, no, sir, I know how to play basketball. Give me the ball. And, he did not want to learn at all from this older gentleman that offered him advice, offered to teach him and to improve his skills. And, sometimes we find ourselves being that kid, and the older gentleman being God, right? God wants to teach us certain things. And sometimes we are stubborn and we say, hey, we already know this. We don't want to learn. So it's important to maintain a humble attitude when we are seeking to understand God and seeking to learn new things. It's also important for us to not fill our minds with garbage. In today's world, we kind of have the benefit of having a lot of people that came before us. We have the Bible, we have tons and millions of books, we have the History Channel and all these other historical movies and shows. And I mean, we can learn so much. We go to school, to universities, to colleges, to high schools, right? So it's important to watch what we allow into our minds. It's important to have a filter, because there's a lot out there, but it shouldn't all occupy our time and our space and our abilities. And also to put into practice what we learn. There's a difference between learning and knowing, and learning and knowledge. A lot of people that are trying to get into shape, they know what they have to do. They know they have to go to the gym. They know they have to have a certain diet. But if they don't put it into practice, if they don't do that stuff, then they just know it. They just have the knowledge, but they're not learning at all. And it's important for us to not only know about things that people teach us, but to put it into practice. And if we don't learn from the previous generations, then we can end up making the same mistake Belshazzar made in his time. I want to read Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1 through 2 for you guys. My son, and we could put daughter in there as well. Do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life for many years and bring you prosperity. Guys, to finish off, I want to wish you guys a great night, and I want you guys to come home and kind of just be thankful for the mentors that you have, the friends, and your parents. And it's also important for us not only to be thankful for them, but to be a good child, to be a good friend, and to be a good student. God bless you guys, and have a great week.